A very good morning to our Honorable Founder President, Patron-in-Chief Sir, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, Venerated Chancellor Sir, Dr. Atul Chauhan, President RBEF and Patron-in-Chief of Amity International Festival, 3rd edition, esteemed Vice Chancellor Madam and Patron of Amity International Literature Festival, Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla Ma'am. Welcome to all national and international speakers, our respected Dean Student Support and Academic Affairs, Professor Dr. Alpana Kakkar Ma'am, Chairperson of Litwit and AILF 3.0, Dr. Vinya Kumari Ma'am, respected HOIs, esteemed jury members, faculty members, and all my dear participants. A very warm greeting to one and all. Hope everyone is safe and in high spirits for this mega literature event.
I, Rajvi Sharma from Amity University, along with Ananya Singh, would love to welcome you all to the third edition of the Amity International Literature Festival. We will be your MCs for the event. Lighting of the lamp symbolizes an auspicious ritual that invokes prosperity and happiness. Thus, to make this day a blessed one, we would like to appreciate and be grateful to the Goddess of Wisdom for her blessing by kindling this lamp. We pray she bestows upon us additional academic and future prosperity.
Amity is India's leading research and innovation-driven private university, ranked among top 3 universities globally. The university has, to its credit, prestigious national and international recognitions and accreditations, which are the testimony of Amity's adherence to global standards. Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, is a UGC-recognized university with grade A+ by National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAAC India. AWUP is is only not-for-profit university to get US regional accreditation by WASC and UK accreditation. Amity University Uttar Pradesh has achieved 25th ranked among all government and private universities in the country by NIRF. Adding another feather to the cap of accolades, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan Sir, Honorable Founder President, and Dr. Atul Chauhan Sir recently received the top Indian academic institutions for patents and commercialization award too. National and international recognitions and accreditations, which are a testimony of Amity's adherence to global standards, is with 11 campuses in India and 13 campuses abroad. Amity University is India's top-ranked non-profit private university, emphasizing academic excellence and authentic leadership and teamwork, preparing you for the real-world corporate environment. Amity is India's leading education organization, having most technologically advanced campuses. With other 2 decades of academic success, Amity Education Group has known for pioneering a global ethos in education in India. Amity has 175,000 students and is distinguished for its unique and exemplary approach to education that aspires for a holistic, comprehensive, and all-inclusive development of students.
A renowned industrialist, gumptious educationist, and philanthropist, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, sir, is the founder president of Amity Education Group. Having taken long strides in his professional career ever since, Sir is known as a visionary person today, leading Amity Education Group, which comprises of 5 universities, 17 schools and preschools, and 150 plus institutions. An unassuming man, Sir has many titles on him. The most successful, the Man of the Year, London, the International Man of the Year by the International Biographical Centre of Cambridge. England, the list is endless. Under his leadership and vision, Amity has achieved great success and will continue to do so. Thank you so much, sir. Under the stewardship of our dynamic and respected Chancellor, Sir Dr. Atul K. Chauhan, Amity Group of Educational Institutions has seen an exceptional development with more than 94 Amity institutions of higher learning and more than 150,000 students in 22 campuses spread across India. Amity today is a brand name that has exclusively been created by our respected Chancellor, Sir Dr. Atul Chauhan. This bears declaration to his vision, a convincing pledge to lead, and an untiring enthusiasm to scale extraordinary heights. Thank you so much, sir.
Our respected Vice Chancellor, Ma'am, Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla, a charismatic leader, is a strategist, an institution builder, and an inspirational role model. She's a hard disciplinarian, yet mindful and humble. Dr. Shukla has held numerous positions during 30 plus years of her career. With a strategic mindset and creative thinking ability, she has been one of the key team members, spearheading and instrumental in the exponential growth of Amity Group, engaged in higher education. She's a phenomenal example for the scholarly community, students, and all the sprouting experts. We would now like to extend our welcome to our Festival Director in Dean Student Support and Academic Affairs, Dr. Alpna Kakkar Ma'am, who is an established leader, educationist, administrator with over 25 years rich experience in teaching, placements, counseling, mentoring, and soft skills, and leading the youth. Also, we would like to extend our welcome to our Professor Dr. Vinya Kumari, the chairperson of the Literate Club, the University Literature Club of Amity University, Noida, who has given us this opportunity to present our stories to the world on a global platform.
The Amity International Literature Festival promises to be a felicitous and sagacious manifestation of aspirations and goal of imparting holistic education, because it will accomplish a grand congregation of students across the globe, providing a virtual rendezvous filled with edifying, tantalizing literature events like debate, poetry, story writing, and many more, along with a myriad of competitions from 23rd June to 26 June 2022. The festival will be rife with the spirit of competition, gaiety, and cross-cultural exchange. Under the umbrella of the Literature Festival, Amity University is proud to present 8 competitions, 7 workshops, 7 panel discussions where participants from 70 plus countries across 6 continents are joining us. Events like Web Spree, Insta Ad, Rising Stanley, book cover design, chills and thrills, and many such invigorating activities give the world a glimpse of the power that literature commands over our society. This festival will truly be the most fun you can have from the comfort of your homes. So let's begin.
Now, starting with the festival, I would now like to call our festival director, Amity International Literature Festival 3rd edition, Professor Dr. Alpna Kakkar ma'am, Dean Student Support and Academic Affairs, to address our audience.
Thank you, Ananya. Thank you, Rajvi. First of all, I would like to, welcome. So, though you have welcomed, and it's my duty as a festival director to welcome all. So, I would first of all start from, because under the patronship of our Honorable Founder President, Sir, Honorable Chancellor, Sir, and respected Vice Chancellor, Madam, who is the leader behind all thoughts that we execute here at Amity University. So for the national and international speakers, I welcome, and I would like to highlight this point that all those 400 clubs that we were discussing during these days is the brainchild of our honorable Vice Chancellor Madam, who is actually giving importance to extracurricular and co-curricular equally, as we say that Amity is research oriented university. Amity is also focusing on the extracurricular aspects for the holistic development of the students. So my very warm welcome to all the national international speakers who have joined us on AILF board for these 4 days. My thanks to the collaborations that we have done with the Voice of Specially Abled People. Pranav Desai ji is here to address today. And my thanks to Mr. Ike Sinha, Unite for Good. And my thanks to the media partners, India TV Group CEO is going to join us soon, and All India Radio as our media partners. And this is, nonetheless, I would definitely would like to extend my very warm welcome and thanks to my Amity family fraternity, who have supported the students for, always for all kind of extracurricular activities, because institution heads, all the institution clubs are under institution heads, and they are supporting, they are encouraging the students to learn out of the classrooms also. So students are learning academics in the classrooms, in the labs, in the fields, but at the same time, we are providing, Amity is providing that platform wherein they are learning out of the box things, getting those ideas when they are actually, as a team, they are working for the clubs and the club activities. So this is one of the activity, because Amity University has 30 university level clubs, and one is literature, English literature club. And just 2 months back, the Hindi Literature Club hosted one Kavi Sammelan, and this is English Literature Club hosting this literature festival. So welcome once again. Thank you so very much for joining us. And I would like to invite my Vice Chancellor by again, welcoming her, reading her profile, because those students have shown their connect, but officially I should also. So to Honorable Vice Chancellor Madam, Dr. Shukla is MTech from IIT Kharagpur and a PhD from Queen's University, UK. She has over 3 decades of rich scholarly experience in industry, academia, research, and administration. Presently, Dr. Shukla is Vice Chancellor of Amity University, Uttar Pradesh. She has been one of the key team members, spearheading and instrumental in the exponential growth of Amity Group engaged in higher education. My students have already introduced about Amity to my international and national speakers on the dais, and the backbone of Amity University, Uttar Pradesh and Amity Higher Education is right in front of you, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Balwinder Shukla. Madam is an inspirational leader, and that is, you can see the inspiration that students are inspired, and we are inspired to execute this fest of this mega level where 70 countries have joined us, and 94 dignitaries from the 70 countries are in the panels, as a panel, as a jury, as a workshop. So this is the inspiration we're receiving from her only. And so we say that she's the front runners in achieving various rankings and accreditations of Amity University. She's a great researcher, and she can take out research from anything and everything. And academician, she's a great academician and has authored numerous books, guided many research scholars, and developed unique models. Even when we say in Amity introduction, QA ranking, and when we are talking about VASC ranking, all initiatives are taken by respected Vice Chancellor Madam, and these models are appreciated by them, and they are applying those models in their international universities, and many of my colleagues will agree to that as soon as those models will come to their universities soon. Dr. Shukla has been on advisory board as well as independent director on board of many bodies such as National Institute of Immunology, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, Khadi Design Council of India, and many others. She is recipient of various prestigious national and international awards and honors such as Outstanding Leader in Education, Person of the Year Award 2013, Peacemakers Award 2017 by Global Peace and Prosperity Initiative USA, Eminent Engineer Award 2017 by IIT, Excellence in Entrepreneurship. List is endless. So I will just save some time because I want our Honorable Vice Chancellor to bless the students and talk more about the importance of extracurricular along with academics. Ma'am, over to you. Thank you so much for joining, ma'am. And ma'am, for your address. Yes.
So, a very esteemed guest of honor, Dr. Manu Mangatu, poet and the visiting faculty of Harvard University, Chief Editor Agile, our guest of honor, Mr. Vinay Maheshwari, Group CEO India TV, and our guest of honor, Professor Laurie Baker Malungu from the University of St. Joseph, Macau. And our guest of honor, Dr. Eugene O'Brien from the University Mary Immaculate College, Ireland. And our guest of honor, Dr. Sabrina Jasmine, UN Speaker for Women Empowerment. And our guest of honor, Mr. Pranav Desai, founder of Voice of Specially Abled People at the unit head NTT Data USA. And my colleagues, Dr. Alpana Kakkar, the other faculty member, and all the participants. First of all, I, on behalf of Honorable Founder President, Honorable Chancellor, all the deans, head of institution, faculty members, I extend a very warm welcome to all our esteemed guests of honor and the distinguished speakers, the participants, everybody to third Amity International Literature Festival, which is being organized in online mode for last 2+ years. The life has changed a lot. The way we used to do the business, the way we used to conduct the education, the way we used to deal with people were very different than what we are doing today. Thanks to the technology has diminished the geographical distances. You can be any part of the world, but you can get connected anytime from anywhere, and which was earlier very difficult, that you will send the invite, you will wait the confirmation, and then you will make the travel plan, all kind of stuff, which was taking a lot of time. But today we are seeing that that you get connected with people very easily. You interact, getting the 2 hours or 3 hours paid by any professional, whether it's academician or industry person or the entrepreneur, that becomes possible without investing time in the travel or the money in traveling and all kind of things. So there's a lot of efficiency has also increased. And see that the literature place, this festival was planned and started organizing with the objective that how we can bring the literature to the core of education philosophy, because no matter from which discipline the student is, it's very important that student to also understand the literature, because literature gives the understanding of the culture. Literature give the understanding of the history. Literature gives the understanding of the economy and the so many things which otherwise they get unnoticed. They go, people don't know. Maybe they may be at very, the accomplished positions, but only is the culture, is the literature, we binds the people, and it's and understanding the nations, understanding the people, understanding the cultures. So, and we have seen the very good response in all our international literature festival. In October 2019, we started our first Amity International Literature Festival, and where we had the literature community from different university had participated, and we had the at that time uh, first edition itself became the truly the global um, the event. And when we had our second, we had it was the completely online festival in 2020, and we had participants from more than 22 countries. And then we had the in March, we got March 21, we conducted a mini literature festival, start to storytelling competition also. Again, we saw such a big response. That means the people really value the literature, and they want to share it, and learn from it. And so the keeping in mind the diverse interests of the students. So we have whatever we have done, we have added the new features to the this literature festival, and where we are going to have very distinct and erudite writers, scholars, poets, dancers, celebrities, and professionals from all walks of life. And so it will promote the passion for literature, but also at the same time it will give a holistic exposure to the students worldwide by providing a platform for expert in the various fields and the disciplines, that how do they view the literature. So the kind of the uh, we will have the a lot of activities which the student will be participating in addition to the workshops, storytelling, art of storytelling, and public speaking, and various uh, the panel discussions which will be covering the different aspects and the corners of literature. And so I'm extremely thankful to our distinguished guests of honor who are really, really going to make the invaluable contribution in this international literature festival, which will, because people, that another dimension, tourism, which has a lot of linkage with the literature. People when they travel, they don't want to just see the building or something. They want to understand the culture, which is directly linked with the literature of that that country, that place, that city. And today, if we have to see the history of the world, history of the nation, we can see how the literature of that country over the ages have changed, how it has preserved the natural or the original or authentic state of a particular age, a particular era of a time. So that is, diving down to our literature, it really gives so much, the understanding and the joy of learning. And so I'm really, really very delighted that we have such a eminent uh, personalities who are highly accomplished in their respective areas, who are going to uh, address and participate in the various sessions. So I extend very warm welcome on behalf of our Honorable Founder President, Honorable Chancellor, and congratulate Dr. Alpana Kakkar and her entire team for putting the so many activities in this festival. And it really looks, it's not just a conference. It doesn't look just as a panel discussion, but it gives when we say, we call it festival. Festival is that you learn, but you enjoy also. And you mingle with the people. And that's what this, the third, uh, you know, uh, form of the AILF is going to produce. So wish you all the best and have a great and successful ILF tree.
Ma'am, please declare it open.
And I hereby declare the.
Ma'am, you're on mute, ma'am. Again, mute.
I hereby declare AILF 2022 open.
Thank you so very much, ma'am. All that you were saying is all we are learning from you, and on behalf of all the students, they see the smiles on their faces, and they were just waiting that, though they were late in few things, but they were sure that their vice chancellor will definitely come and will bless. So see the smile on their faces. On behalf of every one of them, ma'am, thank you so very much for joining and blessing them. Thank you so very much, ma'am. So Ananya, beta, please continue with this first speaker, first guest of honor, and Saksham and Gun, please help sir for the presentation.
So moving ahead, by keeping our Vice Chancellor Madam's note of thanks and a note of welcome and giving us this platform where we can bring global literature together, I would now like to welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Pranav Desai, with profound gratitude to grace us with his presence today. He is the founder of Voice of Specially Abled People and is a business unit head, NTT DATA USA. He was appointed as honorary advisor to Government of India and played an active role and was working directly with PMO Prime Minister Office in implementing a new law for the rights of persons with disabilities brought in India in December 2016. Mr. Desai is driving with vision to reality as WOSAC founder, working with leaders, youth, volunteer to sensitize, inspire, and take action to contribute towards social transformation impacting lives of 1 billion plus specially abled people. Sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to the people who have joined from around the world.
Welcome, Pranavji, once again.
Thank you. Honorable Chancellor Dr. Atul Chauhan ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Balvinder ji, Dr. Kakkar ji, and everybody again, thank you for the opportunity. I want to start by saying, congratulating to the AILF team that you thought about disability as a very important topic to be included in this third AILF global event. Of course, Mr. Ike Siha, who is a volunteer, who is so passionate about inclusion of person with disability, we call it specially able people, Divyangjan, and thanks for including that and inviting me to speak today. So we are primarily an organization that focuses on advocacy, because if you look at disability, there's a huge need role for the literature and the art and the different similar technology, of course, is very important, has a role to play to change the narrative on the disability. And when people connect with the heart by good write-up, poem, artwork, those things will go a long way, because in our society still we carry tremendous ignorance, stigma, and frankly people are not able to see the ability of disabled people. So that's the biggest problem. And literature has a huge role. So I would definitely take few minutes to share some of our slides and walk you through what we are doing. But I again want to congratulate the entire AILF, Amity University, and the distinguished guest of honors and others to really see how inclusion at every level is possible. And we have been experimenting, we have been doing this with several initiatives that I will like to present today now. I have few slides to share with. Okay. Can you see that, Alpana ji?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You
Okay.
can make it in a slideshow, sir.
It is a slideshow.
Okay. You can just unshare and share because it is not in
You
the
don't
slideshow.
Sir, if I may help you, if you press F5, then it will become in full screen mode.
No, definitely he might be trying because he's a technology person. Don't, you're not. So unshare and share it again. Otherwise, we can try on this end.
Sir, there is a mention the slideshow. You have to click on that. Sir is sharing them online.
Okay, I think the line got disconnected. Maybe now it should work. Is it now visible?
It's loading. It's loading. Yes, it is now, sir. There.
Okay, there was some unexpected Zoom errors. Always something happens. So, youth with voice of SAP. We believe that youth is a change maker in the society. And as we are trying to change the narrative on disability by focusing on ability, we have several initiatives at Voice of SAP with high school students, with undergraduate students, graduate students, under various programs, and we'll walk you through. So we are currently working with several universities in the US and in India as of now, and we definitely are looking forward to work more closely with Amity University also. Voice of SAP, we are one of the very few, only 62 in the world working in disability sector. We are one of those special consultative status organization with United Nations Economic and Social Council. What does it mean? Our volunteers, our youth has multiple times presented our viewpoint to the global community at United Nations, because we are invited to the conferences, women inclusion, we bring in disability, climate change, we bring in disability, things like that. So we are trying to promote our vision and agenda through that status. We have so far more than 11,000 volunteers who have taken pledge to volunteer with Voice of SAP. You all are welcome to download our WhatsApp mobile app while we are talking on in Android or iOS and join this global community of change makers. We have rated more than 19,000 places for accessibility to find accessible place, because country like India, where only 5 to 10% places are accessible, very important for person in wheelchair to see using the mobile app which ATM or which restaurant or which post office they can go, which is wheelchair accessible. In last 5 years that we have been in the existence, more than 12,000 lives we have changed forever. On the research side with students, more than 25 research in disability we have conducted primarily from the students in the US. So the overall vision that we are trying to achieve is to operate as a transformation catalyst for the world to become more accessible and inclusive, wherein people with disability enjoy equality as human beings, opportunity to excel and contribute based on their abilities, but to live the life with dignity and independence. So then what are our initiatives? Technology is a big focus. So we have launched world's first virtual exhibition of assistive technology. It's 24/7 open. You all can come, especially I invite engineering students to see 80,000 patents are filed in last 10 years in assistive technology. I learned from one of the speaker earlier that so many patents are filed by MIT University. Maybe you can start looking at disability assistive technology sector as one of the most promising and growing area. Look at what you can do or students can do. Learn from the exhibitors which are already there, demonstrating their amazing products so that person with disability can become functional. Old age people or person with disability, all type of disability we have tried to cover with our existing exhibitors, and more than 13,000 people have joined so far, registered users. The next thing, that art I was talking about, art gallery, and again we can as part of literature, or look at extended art, how art can speak 1,000 words. And we conducted a contest and 53 countries, 4,200 artists participated. 74% of them were youth, again youth power below age of 30. Very unique topic of disability. This art gallery is again open for all of you, no cost. Most important thing, even our honorable prime minister on 24th April in his Man Ki Baat recognize Voice of SAP's technology-led impact as how common people, artists with disability, are able to earn money and get the global access through our platform. Of course, these paintings are amazingly well. I again encourage all the students and everybody to look at this experiment as how one painting can speak 1,000 words. You will see that here. Our mobile app, as I was telling you, it's an actionable advocacy. Youth has power to change the world. We are empowering them, encouraging them with this mobile app to rate the accessibility of the public places in the community. Speak up for that. If it is not accessible, it's a crowdsourced activism. If you decide that the neighborhood post office must be accessible, from the mobile app, 50 people can send email to the same post office manager or to the authorities. Guess what? There is a social pressure. So on the collegiate side, as I was telling, we have research internship, more than 100 students from 25 universities, prime 20 around the US and rest from Nigeria, Bahrain, and India. They have done research, they are doing. Berkeley, we have every semester data sciences department that we are doing research with them, and WhatsApp club is there. So I'm looking forward to again expand our relationship association with MIT University and many other distinguished guests of honors who are here today. All of these are very unique things that you will see driven by technology and going deeper into the data so that we can help change the narrative. Even high school students, we have a 9 months of structured high school volunteering program. Right now it is in the US. Amazing work that they have done, right from creating NFTs to Flutter based mobile app, or to create a video information. So these are the kind of things that our students have developed. Tremendous compassion, empathy, and they are definitely inclusive leaders of tomorrow. Last thing I want to let you know and invite all of you, just before 2 days, we have launched International Assistive Technology Hackathon. Huge prizes are there. Why it is important? Because it's a growing market. 15% population in the world is having disabilities. Only 1 out of 10 people have a assistive device. So we have a real opportunity in 21st century to use the technology to enable person with disability. And the onus is on the youth. Come up with ideas, come up with innovation, participate in this hackathon. We just launched it up to August 31st. You can submit your idea with detail. Of course, prizes are there, but more importantly, you will get global exposure, mentorship by industry experts, and of course, top 10 will be getting place in the global exhibition that we have. We have themes of mobility, communication, and learning. So I again encourage all who are listening, and I want to request again Honorable Vice Chancellor Madam to consider how your engineering students can really benefit with this technology led transformation of the disability sector. With that, I will like to thank all of you again and congratulate you all to really take this literature festival to the next level by including, maybe disability related essay competition. We did it in 2018. We gave 2 topics to the students. We had amazing participation. My city, accessible city. Amazing ideas came out by the students. We had another topic, inclusive society for person with disability, my dream. People came up with ideas as how 2050 would be the society, inclusive society. Let the literature, let the write-up, let the poems create that emotional change in perception of the people with disability. With that, I again thank you all for the opportunity to speak to all today.
Thank you so very much, sir. And definitely, I would be circulating this hackathon for my engineering students. This will be circulated with them because there are talented students in Amity and they will definitely would like to be the part of this hackathon. Thank you so much. Rajvi, over to you.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for talking about such vital issues like inclusion at every level and bringing change via youth on such a vital platform. Now, I kindly request Dr. Sabrina Jasmine from Japan for her words of wisdom as guest of honor. She's a UN speaker for women's empowerment, multi-global award-winning medical scientist, healthcare entrepreneur, consultant, advisor, advocate, marketing influencer, lead generation, and a public speaker. Ma'am, please address the gathering.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you listen to me?
Yes,
Is it
ma'am.
okay? Okay, okay. Thank
Yes,
you very
sir.
much. Okay, and I am very happy to be invited here, although it was very sudden, only 1.5 hours before. Okay, I have been talking. I will talk on 26th June as a panelist, so you can also join there. So it is very short-term preparation. Can I have my slides, please?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sharing them.
Yes, please. Okay, this actually I work at various affiliations. My English is not good because I am in Japan for 26 years. And this is a country they don't use English. Okay, so I have to teach everything in Japanese, but where they need me, because they cannot write paper in English. And up to date, because I have been said that I have to tell my some inspirational stories so that students get inspired. Okay, so until now I have been given more than 100 medical doctors to get the doctorate degree. Okay, so they are very good at experiments. Please, next slide, please. They are very good at experiments, but when there is a question that you have to compile the data and how you create the central message from your research, they are very, very shy and confused. So in this slide, just I will show you my very brief career. I am in Japan for 26 years. And here I work at different institutions, sometimes as division head for research, sometimes as pure faculty, but almost all of the times, my works are related to research, education, and of course, I am attached to it also clinical works and drug discovery. Next slide, please. Next, please. So in my 26 years, it's a little bit old slide. So now it is about 26 years. I have published more than 350 papers in international journals, like very high impact to very low impact, because I have to clear the students. When I gave birth to my third daughter, I had to come back to my work in 10 days because I cannot hang a doctoral student for my personal reason. So this is a country where I have been working. So just after giving birth in 10 days, every 3 hours I come back, give milk to my little daughter, go back, and then revise their thesis so that they can get PhD in time. And I have been working for the internationalization for 3 famous universities in Japan. And I could make a bridge Japan and with other institutes all over the world. And I am a researcher who started research from a gene. Now I work at the global level at the policy making. So my research area covers from cell research, animal research, clinical research, population-based research, and now global health policy research. Next slide, please. So I have, until now, I have got international fellowships from my contribution to the medical field from maybe more than 10 global recognized institute, like here you can see Royal Society of Medicine, Royal College of Physicians of Edinburgh, American Heart Association, International College of Angiology, American College of Cardiology, and so many. And in my career turning point, when I think that I have to come out from the lab, then I joined to start my research with Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus, who has been awarded Nobel Peace Prize in 2006. And I have been always with him, how to improve the women health in rural areas in South Asia. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide, please. So here you can see that I start from mouse. You can see in the upper panel of the picture. And now I am at the global policy making. So it's a long transition that I had to come to this level. When you go to the laboratory, you don't know anything. Then you start your basic science work. And then you gradually move to translate that findings to human. And then you do for the practical implication of human being. Okay. So in my this 25 or 6 years research career, I have crossed all the path. So whenever any person asks me, do you know this animal study? Yes, I know. Do you know this cohort study? How this model is established? I know. So my key message from this slide is that there is no limitation to be a researcher. You should have each and every quality: how to analyze the data, how to make a creative idea, how to solve the troubleshooting, how to write a paper, how to respond to the reviewers, and how you can be accepted in high impact factor journal. Next slide, please. So this is the thing I already told you, that I touched each and every sector of healthcare. From sports medicine, when there was Olympic in Japan in 2021 and 20, I gave master degree more than 30 students. Japan government started a short course master degree, just 1.5 years. And I was the international supervisor to supervise them. So if you have the ability, if you have the capability, if you have the global mindset, if you have the mission, vision, and if you have the humanity, that means you serve the human, then you can do it for many people. Next slide, please. So this is, I will not go in details. I have been working for the non-communicable disease that is called the lifestyle metabolic disorders for a long time, and a lot of innovations, discoveries were happened in my hand. Okay, next slide, please. So you know diabetes is very global epidemic, and I am the first one. Next slide, please. Who discovered a single molecule which can prevent and stop the progression of diabetic complications. That is not good for retina, that means eye, but that is good for heart, that is good for brain, but that is not good for kidney. So now we are at the clinical trial stage to discover a drug which can work for the diabetic complications, cell specifically, organ specifically, and system specifically. It will come to the market soon. Next slide, please. So here you can see that the VEGF, it's a molecule. It is the initial trigger for the diabetic complications. And I have discovered it for my work over 15 years. Next slide. And women health, especially the post-menopausal women, is another issue of my work, because you know, now the life expectancy for the menopausal women is getting higher day by day. But you know, estrogen is not good for the postmenopausal women to alleviate their symptoms as a postmenopausal syndrome. So then I did a lot of research. Next slide, please. I did a lot of research, and now we have an alternative substrate that can tell you that whether you have the possibility to develop diabetes when you are approaching to menopause. And this work is now under patent application. Next slide. And you can see here that I am the first one who started the gestational diabetes project in Bangladesh. I got a big project from the World Diabetes Foundation, and I screened 45,000 rural women in Bangladesh who are pregnant, and found that 13% of that women have diabetes in their pregnancy, but they don't know. And this was a very large project, and we did a lot of advocacy program, awareness program, and still the work is continuing. Next slide. Next slide. So this is I am in Japan. I work in the lab. I also work in the rural. And here you can see that Professor Muhammad Yunus, who is the Nobel laureate, I have been working with him for a long time for the improvement for the rural health. And here in the lower part of the slide, you can see that I have been awarded 100 Women Award more than 3 times in Asia. Next slide, please. This work I will not describe. Next slide. So here for the students. Up to now, I co-authored with students more than 120 papers. And I supervise from biology to IT. Because the key theme of the research is same. You should have a unique idea. That is the novelty. What is the necessity of that research? How that research would contribute to the society? How will it implicate, how will you disseminate your ideas? How will it help to the society? Many people do a lot of works, but they don't get published. It is nothing. If you do a little work even, you can publish it, even very small journal. Okay. So for my message to the student is that I am a woman and I was born in Bangladesh. I moved to Japan 26 years before. Japanese government directly brought me here. And you are a woman, you will have a family. You will have husband, children. But at the same time, you should have very, very, how to say, well-planned, well-designed life plan if you want to progress in academic and also the research career. Next slide, please. So this is a summary slide that I wanted to establish a lifestyle related metabolic research cluster. I want to bridge Japan with other countries. I want to establish evidence-based healthcare practice and medicine and healthcare policy. I would like to contribute to the genomic research because now people believe in the gene. Now they don't want to go for any big chemicals. A gene can say many things for the human disease prevention and cure. Next slide, please. And also, there is another last word from me, that is the translation. Whatever work you do, you translate it. If you start from animal, you go to the human. If you start from human, you go to the animal for translation. Then only you can disseminate your research result to the global society for the acceptance. Next slide. So I have been attached to it more than 30 organizations. I cannot list up all. And I really thank once again Amity University and their whole staffs, their faculties to invite me here to speak here. And as I was born in Bangladesh, so my mind is with South Asian people. Okay. And I try to work still with many South Asian countries. India is also one of my workplaces. Thank you, and would like to meet you again on 26 June as a panelist. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really inspiring to hear from you as a UN speaker of women empowerment about your work in healthcare entrepreneur, about your advices, and as a public speaker. Now, moving ahead, I would like to call Professor Dr. Eugene O'Brien from Ireland as a guest of honor for his work of guidance and encouragement. He is a senior lecturer and head of Department of English Language and Literature in Mary Immaculate College, University of Limerick. Dr. Eugene is also the director of the Mary Immaculate Institute for Irish Studies. He is the editor for the Oxford University Press Online Bibliography Project in Literary Theory. So,
hello, everybody. What I want to talk about today is, I suppose, a broader view, though I was absolutely fascinated with the last paper and the sheer amount of work being done to help people through knowledge, through science is amazing. And it's quite humbling to watch it and just to see what can be done in terms of research. I want to take a step back and look at literature and its value in the world. This is a fantastic festival. It's going worldwide. It's being recorded. It's got, 50, 60 countries tuning in. Why is it that we as humans, right back to the time when we lived in caves and we were, endangered by animals, by weather, by climate, by everything, we still found time to mark pictures on those caves to tell our stories. So even when people's life expectancy would have been, minute, and when extinctions were rife, we still took the time to do that. And I think the reason for that is twofold. And I think that's why this particular festival is so important. The first reason is aesthetic. I think we like stories. Many, many years ago, when I was teaching in a school, one of the teachers was ill and I was asked to step into the infant room. They were only 4 years of age. And when I was being educated to be a teacher, men weren't asked to teach in infants. So I had no experience of this. So I went in and they were all looking at me and they were all crying and they were all upset and they couldn't find their teacher. And I just sat down on the desk and I said, once upon a time, and a very long time ago, there was a beautiful princess. And they all stopped and they all sat down, because humans from the very beginning love stories. We love narratives. The critic J. Hillis Miller says, when you read in a book about time passing, that the general formalization of clocks is tick tock. Miller says, if you listen to clocks, they just go tick, 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 tick. But as humans, we like a narrative, beginning, tick, ending, talk. We like to provide meaning to nature and to the world in which we live through story. So when you watch wildlife programs, for example, we give names to the animals, or the animals, of course, don't have names, but we give them names and we follow their story. A good story that we read, a good story that's been put on film, a good story that's put on the internet or on media can give us pleasure. It can give us a relief from the difficulties and the exigencies of the world. And that aesthetic aspect of literature and of narrative is very important, because as humans, and I go back to our progenitors in the caves, we like to look at pictures and images that perhaps do us no practical value, but feed, and it depends on your culture, our soul, our mind, our psyche, our heart, or unconscious. So that's central to being human. I think one of the most important aspects of literature is that it's a central core to being human. It's part of what differentiates us from other animals. Lots of species can communicate. We communicate at this level where we're making things up, where we're not describing the real world, we're creating a world that's different and that maps onto the real world in maybe a nicer way. The other reason I think that literature is hugely important, and more so I think today than ever before, is because at the juncture we are at in the world at the moment, after one of the Iraq wars, I remember the historian Francis Fukuyama was talking about the end of history and that we'd reached a stage where dialectical materialism and historical progress had reached its peak. And this was, you know, I think massively optimistic and just plain wrong, because what we're seeing in the world now, in my country, a very, very small country, very far away from India, we've had religious and identity strife for 30 years. We still have huge problems in terms of conflict between those of the Catholic and nationalist tradition and those of the Protestant and unionist tradition. Throughout the world, we see conflicts between different races. We see it in Ukraine and Russia in Europe at the moment. We see it between Islam and Christianity. We see it between all sorts of various identities based on race, based on religion, based on ethnicity. And what literature allows us to do, and I think this is something maybe that we skip over sometimes because we all get caught up in the various trends of postmodernism and post-secularism and post-humanism, which are very important. What literature allows me as a Western middle-aged white man to do is to read a book and inhabit the mind and the perspective of perhaps a 20-year-old Asian woman. It allows me to get into the mindset of somebody from a totally different culture, somebody whose experiences are different from mine, but that when I'm reading the book, something happens in my head and I'm able to participate vicariously in that person's culture, in their life, in their ideology. And what that does is it takes the ethnic and religious and identitarian barriers that societies and individuals put up, that because you are Islamic and I am Christian, we have little in common. Because you are Asian or African and I am European, we have little in common. Literature says, no, that's not true. In fact, and it doesn't just say that, because I can say that, and it doesn't mean that you can still stand there and say, well, yeah, you're saying that, but actually we don't have anything in common. What literature allows us to do is to inhabit the mind and the consciousness and the experience of someone like that. And I think when you read a book like that, and you read a book from a different country, from a different experience, from a different time period, something completely imaginary like science fiction or whatever, it allows you to understand at a human felt level what someone else's experience was like. I would have an interest, a historical interest in the French Revolution. It strikes me as a seminal period for European development and a seminal period for thought. I would have read, you know, not particularly deeply, but quite widely around it. And about a year ago, I got a book as a gift for Christmas, and it was written by the historical fiction writer Hilary Mantel, and it's called A Place of Greater Safety. And it describes in about 1,000 pages a fictional account of Georges Danton, of Camille Desmoulins, and of Maximilien Robespierre. These real people are put in as characters. There's conversations, their thoughts, their ideas. There's some fiction, some fact, but the general gist of it is true. At the end of that, I had a felt connection to aspects of the French Revolution that I never had before. I had perhaps an understanding of the causes of the terror and the horror and the fact that something that started off with the idea of the rights of man and the citizen and the idea of human rights as being something that we should all have and they should be ours by right, how that could lead to the terror and the horror and the guillotine. And I got a felt sense of how that happened. And I also think that as humans, sometimes we can overvalue the rational and the intellectual. I shouldn't be saying that because most of us here make our living by teaching, being rational and intellectual. So it's a very important part of our culture. But also it's important to realize that feeling and affect and emotion are part of what makes things change. I think it was Aristotle who said that it's only through emotions and feelings that we can actually drive any real change. And what literature does more than anything else, it doesn't give us documentary knowledge of someone. We can get that from history. We can get that from a film documentary or television documentary or radio one. What it gives us instead is a sense of the feeling and a sense of what's going on in the minds and hearts of the people in that particular time and in that particular place. And for me, that is the political value of literature. And I know politics and literature are often seen as a bad combination, and people have written about aesthetic ideology and about, you know, creating politics in an aesthetic way, fascism, Nazism, big parades, all people together trying to get that logic of the spectacle, as Guy Debord would say. But I think there's another level of politics of literature, and that's the level that you're celebrating in this festival, and that I am really, really pleased to be asked to talk to later on today when we're talking about the internet and knowledge and how it's changed it. Because what you're doing is you're focusing on the value of literature, and you're focusing on the value of culture as a form of connection. Last week, the Indian ambassador to Ireland visited our college here in Limerick, and I was very fortunate to get to meet him and to have a chat. And he came into my office, and you can see behind me, I have a lot of books, and he's a man who likes books. And we were talking about the connections between Ireland and India, and there's a lot of technological ones because both countries, I think, are moving very quickly ahead in terms of computers and technology and looking at the future in that way. But I also think it's important that we looked at cultural connections, and that was exactly what he said. He was talking about poetry. And one of the really interesting things that he came up, he talked about William Butler Yeats and Rabindranath Tagore and the connection that those two men had, and how important it was for modernism and modernity in Ireland and indeed in Europe and everywhere else. The interesting thing was that William Butler Yeats's first 3 poems in his collected poems are based in India. I don't think he was ever in India. He saw a connectedness between Indian spirituality and Celtic spirituality that he was talking about in Ireland. And he saw a connectedness, a kind of a reaching across in that way. And it's interesting that the Indian constitution was modeled on the Irish one. The Indian flag has strong resonances with the Irish one. Those connections weren't really political, and they weren't really technological or industrial, they were cultural. And what this festival is doing, and why I think it is so valuable and why it is so important that we do talk about books and stuff like that, is that reading books connects us as human beings and as people. A number of years ago, I was in a meeting with colleagues who were in the S&T sector. And we were looking, as you always are in academia, for funding. And they were saying, well, you know, like we need chemicals, we need materials, we need machinery. And I was saying, we really in humanities, we just need a whiteboard, a projector, our books, and a large room where people can sit down. And they were laughing. And one of the people there said to me jokingly, she said, well, look, when someone does my discipline, when they come out, I know they can code a computer. And when someone comes in my discipline comes out, another woman said, I know they can build a bridge. And like, what do you guys build, Eugene? And I said, well, what we build are the people who use the computers and who cross the bridges. Because what we build is the intellectual curiosity and the sense of connectedness and the desire, not just to build real bridges, though of course they're very important, but to build the kind of bridges that we're doing here, where I'm sitting in Limerick at 7:54 in the morning. You're there in different places all throughout the world, all through this day, and possibly some yesterday and some tomorrow, given the way the time thing goes. But we're all talking to each other about reading and connectedness and culture and books. And to me, that is probably one of the most valuable ways we can spend our time. And I suppose I'd finish with that the important thing for us as readers, as writers, as thinkers, is this notion that literature isn't just a hobby. It's not just something you do when the work of the day is done, though it does have that factor. It's not just something to give you aesthetic pleasure, though it does have that factor. At a cultural level, at an important, significant level, me reading a book by someone from another culture, another gender, another religion, at a personal human level, puts me in their head. And that is a good place to be, because if I'm in your head, and if I get to understand you and get to like you, I will find it much harder to hate you, to persecute you, to vilify you. And that's why I think literature is a crucial thing for us to do, past, present, and to come. Thank you very, very much. Looking forward to talking to you again later on today from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for painting such a compelling picture around literature and how it tethers us to the world and the joy of reading books. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Next, we have Professor Dr. Laurie Baker Malingu, our guest of honor from Education University of St. Joseph, Macau, is an educational consultant, curriculum developer, and passionate educator. Professor Laurie Baker Malingu is committed to delivering quality education that is accessible to all. She believes an important key to unlocking creativity and the magical path of lifelong education is literacy and love of reading. Inherent to any successful invention, masterpiece, or business plan is the path into the unknown traversed by its respective author, inventor, artist, or entrepreneur. Such is the journey of education. Dr. Laurie serves as a guide, nurturing greatness in its numerous forms, assisting the realization of dreams and aspirations from conceptualization to reality. We welcome you, ma'am. We request you to please address the gathering.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your work and this wonderful opportunity to share with you. Good morning, honorable guests. Good evening or good afternoon, no matter where you are connecting. Festival organizers, fellow participants, those who are attending internationally and those throughout India. I was indeed humbled to accept the invitation of the Honorable Dean, Professor Opana Kokar, to offer my blessings for this wonderful event and to celebrate in the magnificent achievement of Amity University, its faculty and students who are demonstrating in real time that love, passion, and determination can overcome any obstacle to create an opportunity for peaceful discussion and sharing, even amidst a geopolitical climate that demonstrates a rather different reality. As an education specialist and a curriculum designer, my relationship with literature may be different from many here, though I assure you is no less passionate about the immense potential literature and its diverse varieties of written genre possess. We cannot dismiss the power of written communication and its intricate relationship with our history as a human collective. Mankind sometimes forgets its inherent creative essence. We become so busy focusing, identifying, and raising awareness of problems or unwanted situations around us, perhaps unaware that energy required in beating the drum of the problem denies us the opportunity to receive inspiration essential for its solution. After all, cognitively, we can only focus on one topic at a time. Literature, an immersion into a beautifully written story, trains us to become an observer of reality rather than a victim of it, which is an essential aspect for one who is awake to the idea that each moment provides us a new opportunity to shift our conscious focus. The context of each literary piece enables us a bird's eye view of the characters. We see from their perspective. We can empathize with their situation while reserving judgment. In this way, we can observe even the villain or antagonist without bias. For we see not only why this character may behave in the way that he or she does, but how that very behavior enables the protagonist to grow and display characteristics not even he or she believed they were capable of. Imagine what is possible when we begin to understand that the very contrast we experience in our own lives is in fact the catalyst for our own expansion. There is no doubt that literature provides us an invaluable mirror, reflecting all aspects of the human condition, while simultaneously opening our world of experience to different ethnicities, cultures, traditions, ideologies, challenges to inclusivity, and places which expand our understanding. I look forward with great eagerness to the discussions and magical opportunities for co-creation that will ensue over the next few days. I'm sure I speak for all in wishing the best for this festival, its organizers, and all who participate herein. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really great hearing your connection with literature as an educationist, and we cannot wait to hear more in the panel discussion that you will be taking. Now, moving ahead, I would like to call Dr. Manu Mangatu to the stage. He is an English professor, poet, visiting faculty at Harvard University, chief editor AILF, research consultant, publishing expert, translator, editor, film critic, and lyricist. He has published 9 books, 79 international research publications, 97 academic papers, and 20 edited volumes with reputed publishers like Routledge, HarperCollins, Harvard University Press, and Penguin. During his illustrious career as a literature professor and poet, he has won 3 poetry awards, 3 research awards, and 1 Best Teacher award. He also serves as the chief editor of various international journals and magazines. Dr. Manu sir, I would now like to give the stage over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sakshi, for Ananya. Sakshi, for your kind words of introduction. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm so thankful to the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity to meet and to greet all of you here. So I don't know how to salute this gathering. Maybe I should say I would like to offer my greetings and salutations to all the eminent people here from time past, time present, and time future who are joined in time now. And this is a literature festival, Amity International Literature Festival. There is a festival that is being commemorated in India, in the USA, in UK, in Mauritius, in Nigeria, commemorating a particular poet, saint, singer from India. He is Tyagaraja, Saint Tyagaraja from South India. And Tyagaraja Music Festival is conducted every year to commemorate music, to commemorate literature. And this person, Tyagaraja, he has given us a wonderful way of salutation. Yendaro Mahanu Pavulu, Yendaro Mahanu Pavulu. My salutations to all the eminent men and women in attendance here. Dear friends, celebrations, festivals. Let's look at some festivals that have adorned the history of our earth since its beginning, culturally. Let's look at ancient Greece, the Roman civilization. What was happening in ancient Greece? The ancient Greek people had 2 kinds of festivals. two major festivals celebrating two gods, Apollo and Dionysius. Apollo and Dionysius, as per Greek mythology, they are both sons of the god Zeus. And these Apollonian and Dionysian festivals were held every year in ancient Greece to celebrate these two gods, as well as a part of Aradhana, as a part of devotion to these gods. Now, what is interesting to us here about these two festivals, the Apollonian and Dionysia? Literature students, literature people here would know that the Apollonian and Dionysian as a literary concept was popularized by Friedrich Nietzsche. But what is interesting to us is something else as well. Apollo, they are both Apollo and Dionysius, they are both sons of the god Zeus, but there is a basic difference between these two gods. Apollo is the god of rational thinking and order. He appeals to our logic, prudence, and purity. He stands for reason. He's our brain. Dionysius, on the other hand, is the god of wine and dance, of irrationality and chaos, representing passion, emotion, instincts. He is the god of our hearts, the god of the brain and the god of the heart. Interestingly, the ancient Greeks never considered the two gods to be opposites or rivals. They considered them as the two sides of the same coin, or along the same continuum. Something akin to what the Indian concept of Advaita would recommend. Instead of looking at things in a binary opposition way, the Indian concept would tell us that everything exists in a continuum. So dark is not the opposite of light. It is the least light is dark, and the least dark is light. So this continuum idea, this was how the ancient Greeks perceived these two gods and these two festivals. Now, my dear friends, what is the connection? The Apollonian and the Dionysian is also used to represent two major strands of thought in literature. Two major strands of thought. The Apollonian represents a calm, reasoned, and structured way of looking at art, whereas the Dionysian represents a deeply emotional and ecstatic experience of literature. Now you know what I am speaking about. I am speaking about this festival. This festival has the Apollonian and the Dionysian. My dear friends, we had an accelerating session a while ago where Professor was telling us about the importance of literature in a cultural context. What is the purpose of literature? Let us be honest about it. Does literature serve any purpose today? We are all very busy with our lives. We have so many things to do apart from Corona. And still, why literature? Where literature? How literature? What is the purpose of literature? I don't know what it is for us, but what is the purpose of literary festivals like this? I will once again take you to the ancient times, to ancient Rome. The ancient Roman writer, poet, thinker, critic, Horace, he believed that the purpose of all literature is twofold: to teach a moral lesson and to entertain an audience. And he encapsulated the whole idea in the Latin phrase dulce et utile, to delight and to instruct. That is the purpose of literature, as per Horace. And many later day thinkers also followed the same strand of thought saying that literature has two dimensions to it, an instructional dimension, a didactic dimension, and an entertaining, enthusing, exhilarating dimension. Now, what do we have at hand? It's a literature festival. Look at the events. There are events that appeal to our brain and events that appeal to our heart. Workshops and panels will instruct us, widen our horizons of knowledge, and make us more informed and erudite citizens of the world. And then we have numerous events, competitions that will spur on the Dionysian in us, entertaining us and taking us to states of ecstasy, exhilaration, and excitement. It is an international festival as well. Amity International Literature Festival 3.0, that's the name. It's an international festival. And I don't have to explain how international this festival is. We just need to look around this Zoom meeting to see how international this is. This is an international festival. And this is also an Amity festival. We feel at home in Amity. My good friends and colleagues from all nook and cranny of this small, big world would agree with me that in the lead up to this festival, we all felt, whether it was in the Zoom meetings or during the WhatsApp discussions, that we are at home in Amity, at Amity. Amity is a home that is well adorned and beautifully organized by the ever vigilant and always considerate Dr. Alpana and her wonderful bunch of students, Thun and others, led by the ever resourceful Dr. Vinaya Kumari. Yes, it's a home festival. Amity festival is a homely festival. What is Amity? Yes, it is a university. Yes, definitely, we all know that. It's a university. Now, what is the origin of the word amity? Some people say it comes from the medieval Latin or the vulgar Latin amicitas, which means friendship. Some say it comes from amicus, which means friendly or friend. And some would even say it can be traced back to amo, amor, amorous, love. So love and friendship. I guess amity enshrines the two values of love and friendship. My dear friends, if you take a quick look at the dictionary to see what this amity is all about, you will find two major definitions. One is a formal literary definition that says that amity means friendship. And I would read from what I found on an online dictionary, just reading from Wikipedia, Google search. The cooperative definition for amity, the cooperative and supportive relationship between people or animals. In this sense, the term connotes a relationship which involves mutual knowledge, esteem, affection, and respect, along with a degree of rendering service to friends in times of need or crisis. I believe this is why this conference is collaborating with agencies that look for inclusive living, inclusive for the disabled. We heard a wonderful session on disability and how the disabled people differently able, specially abled people should be brought to the mainstream in literary discussions. Friendship, inclusion. The Renaissance formulations of friendship typically cast the friend as another self, and they would define a pair of friends as one soul in two bodies. And those of you who are interested to know how Shakespeare and the Renaissance writers have looked at amity, friendship, you may refer to a very interesting book by Laurie Shannon titled Sovereign Amity, Figures of Friendship in Shakespearean Contexts. Sovereign Amity, Figures of Friendship in Shakespearean Context by Laurie Shannon. Now, we have the founders and the patrons of Amity attending this meeting. It would be very unwise for me to speak about the foundation or the founding of Amity. You know what? But definitely, the founder of Amity was not the first person who thought about Amity. 100 years back at least, because he's still there in the meeting. So I'm sure he's still alive and he's still very much vibrant and energetic and present, which means Amity is recent. Now, in 1866, the great American novelist, short story writer, and poet Herman Melville, the Moby Dick fame Herman Melville, he stated that amity can only be maintained by mutual respect. I don't know whether he was prophetically speaking about Amity University, and he was saying that Amity University can be maintained only by reciprocal respect. Either way, interestingly, this particular statement belonged to a collection of poems that he brought out, which has a great relevance today as well. The volume is titled Battle Pieces and Aspects of the War. Battle Pieces and Aspects of the War. We hear war cries around us. One of the participants one of the eminent speakers in this conference is from, Dr. Yulia Shamieva. She is from Ukraine, where during the meeting, she was telling us that I can hear war cries and I have to go into the shelter. I will come back to the Zoom meeting a little later. War cries. The second meaning that the dictionary gives for amity is this: mutual understanding and a peaceful relationship, especially between nations. Peace, a call, what we need today. My dear friends, English language is interesting. Look at the word amity, and you will find calamity ending with amity. Calamity. Calamity ends with amity. Amity is there in unanimity and equanimity. Amity is there in you and me, in our innermost desires, in the pureness of our existence, in the short sweetness of our breath. It's the Amity International Literature Festival. Let the festivities begin. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We're extremely grateful to you. And thank you so much for talking about the rooted values of literature and enlightening the gathering about the substantial cultural aspects of the same. We're extremely grateful to all the speakers who are present here for living up to the notion of unification of diversity on this esteemed platform of AILF. As a tradition at Amity University, we will now thank our esteemed guests with a Tulsi sapling symbolizing connection and relations for lifetime. Our motto is that we together can change the world. We say once an Amitian and always an Amitian.
So, we are thankful to all the speakers and would now like to request our esteemed Vice Chancellor Madam, Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla, to virtually present the plant sapling to our venerated Chancellor, Sir Dr. Atul Chauhan.
Thank you so much. Now I would request our esteemed, respected Dean, Student Support and Academic Affairs, Professor Dr. Alpana Kakkar ma'am, to virtually present the sapling to esteemed Vice Chancellor Madam, Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla.
Now, I would like to request our venerated Vice Chancellor Madam, Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla, to virtually present the plant sapling to our guest of honor, Mr. Pranav Desai, founder of Voice of Specially Abled People, Business Unit Head of NTT Data USA.
Thank you. Now I would request our esteemed Vice Chancellor Madam, Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla, to virtually present the plant sapling to Dr. Sabrina, Japan, UN Speaker for Women's Empowerment, multi-global award-winning medical scientist, healthcare entrepreneur, consultant, advisor, advocate, marketing influencer, lead generation speaker, public speaker, women health promoter, MD, PhD, FRCP, MS, FACC, FAHA, and FICA.
I would now like to request Dr. Vinita Prasad to virtually present the saplings to Professor Dr. Eugene O'Brien, Ireland, Head of Department of English Language and Literature, Mary Immaculate College.
Thank you. Now I would request Bandhopadhyay sir to virtually present the sapling to our esteemed guest of honor, Mr. Vinay Maheshwari, Group CEO, India team.
I would now like to request our Dean Support and Academic Affair, Professor Dr. Alpna Kakkar ma'am, to virtually present the sapling to Professor Dr. Laurie Baker Malungu, Adjunct Professor of Education, University of St. Joseph, Macau.
Next, I would now request our esteemed chairperson of Litwit Club and AILF, Dr. Vinaya Kumari ma'am, to virtually present the sapling to Dr. Manu Mangatu. Dr. Manu Mangatu is an English professor, poet, visiting faculty at Harvard, and a research consultant, publishing expert, translator, editor, film critic, and lyricist.
Present.
Wait, Rajvi, I would like to invite Professor Dr. D.K. Bandhopadhyay, sir, Chief Advisor to our Founder President Office and Chairman Amity Law Schools, to bless the students as the inauguration is ending and we are on vote of thanks here.
So I think.
So before that, sir, please a few words about.
So the other chapter that we know that new education policy, the way it has come up, and it has given us a different type of orientation, how literature is important in terms of converting or translating the student or transforming the student. So the mother tongue has got such an importance that up to the 5th standard, all students should be learning in their mother tongue. And there comes so much of importance of literatures and good literatures. And that is one of the most important things that as an Amity University, we like to catch up with. And then we know that the literature itself provides us the mirror of the society. Now, every students who read something, who are actually getting the benefit of the different good good writers, books or poetry, prose, short stories, and they come to understand what actually is happening around, what is the ground reality. And this ground reality, our students must be knowing it. Now, for example, if you read any contemporary author's books today, and we like to encourage, and through this type of a platform, through this type of activity, literal activity, we like to promote among the students how the students must enhance their reading habits, try to understand the societal problem, get themselves really mapped where they are in, and so that lots of understanding they get out of it. And in terms of the research, they also understand what is the real problem in the society, what is the new research that must be done. And only literature gives us that type of understanding, because we know that literature has got to greater extent the real picture of the society. It gives us that. A good literature gives us that. We know that there are many good authors that are in India. They are coming up. Of course, most of our English departments are more concerned about the foreign authors. But I all the time say our Indian authors, starting with Sarachandra Chattopadhyay, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, Rabindranath Tagore, our Premchand Munshi, Bharti. I mean, plenty of literatures just they have created in terms of the manifestation of the problem of the society, so that it gives us a different types of orientation of the dimensions. We like to promote it. I think Dr. Kakkar, Dr. Alpana Kakkarji, along with our English department, inviting who is who in this field, in this inaugural session, and your students will be highly benefited. And dear students, please catch up reading different good literatures, good novels that will give you a different types of your understanding about the society, and will lead you to contribute for the benefit of the society. And literature is the core of our thinking, is the core of anything. And that reading habits will also make us to read the discipline where we belong to. So Alpanaji, once again, thank you. And it is all the direction of the Honorable VC Ma'am, and of course, our Honorable Founder President and our Chancellor. They promote that MIT must do something new. I mean, that's the new message. MIT must do something new. And I find this is something new that Kalpanaji, along with Binita Prasad and students volunteer. You have created something new, inviting people from across the globe and giving their thought processes in different way. And it will be highly, highly beneficial to our students. And dear students, please catch up, take home all the things that are being talked about. But only core is that develop the reading habits, read good literatures, and that will take you to a different positioning. So all the best.
Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Over to students, yes.
Thank you so much for telling us that literature is our core. And I would like to tell you, we as a literature club also have our weekly book reading club to inculcate the value that you're saying, that reading and reading good literature is at the heart and core of every student in Amity. And we would hope to promote that as well. So moving ahead, no event comes together without the support of a vast network of people. And to acknowledge all the people involved in this Mega Amity International Literature Fest, edition 3rd, I would now like to call Professor Dr. Vinya Kumari, the chairperson of AILF 3.0 and chairperson of Literature Club, the University Literature Club of Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, to give a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ananya. A very good afternoon to all of you, Honorable Founder President and patron of AILF, Shri Ashok K. Chauhanji, revered Chancellor and patron of AILF, Shri Atul K. Chauhanji, Venerable Vice Chancellor and patron of AILF, Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla Ma'am, respected Dean, Academic and Student Support, Dr. Professor Alpana Kakkarji, esteemed guests of honor, Mr. Pranav Desai, Dr. Mangadu, Dr. Baker, Dr. O'Brien, and Mr. Vinay Maheshwari, erudite deans, HYs and faculty, CEO and team India TV, CEO and team All India Radio, and all the distinguished national and international speakers. At the outset, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed and eminent patrons who are the pillars of this grand rendezvous. I would say a grand virtual rendezvous. Thank you once again for your constant support and guidance, without which we would not have successfully planned, prepared, and of course would be planned and prepared and executed this grand event. I express my hearty thanks to all our guests of honor, Team India TV, and the CEO, and Team All India Radio for accepting our invitation and for being here today. Your talks have truly inspired us. It is a matter of honor to deliver a special thanks to all the illustrious national and international dignitaries and esteemed guests who could take out time from their busy schedule and grace the event with their gracious presence. A huge thank you for being a part of this Amity Global family. I would like to reiterate what Ananya has said. Once an Amitian and always an Amitian. Thank you all, our esteemed guests. A sincere thanks to all the deans, HOIs, and faculty for joining us here.
Dr. Vinay, thanks will be incomplete in case we are not thanking our IT team and our Amazon.
Of course, I'm coming to it.
Yes,
definitely, I'm coming to it. Yeah. A special thanks to Professor Kakar, who's our mentor and guide. You, Professor Kakar, you have always been generous with your time whenever the team needed you. I would be, and special thanks to our IT teams and all the technical support team who have helped us to make this event, run. I would be failing in my duty if I do not thank my dear students who toiled enthusiastically under the motivation of Professor Kakar, and they toiled incessantly for months, day and night. And I say incessantly, day and night, to make this wonderful event possible. I would also like to thank all participants and each and every one of you for being here and making this day a wonderful and memorable one. And of course, this week, an enjoyable one. Thank you, one and all. Thank you once again. Goodbye.
I think
thank you all.
Thanks especially to our international guests. Special thanks to them.
Yes, sir. She thanked, but I will again thank them because, sir, they were there with us in Zoom meetings because as per the time zones we have divided, and we had late night Zoom meetings according to their time zones. And it was 3 a.m. here, and there they were, we were selecting the convenient times and so on. And today, in fact, this is late for some of our guests, but they are here with us to, as we said, once an Amitian, always an Amitian, and our motto that we can change the world. Together, we can change the world. And so this unification on this platform is definitely evidence of that, yes, with all these 70 countries, we are going to continue our relationship, maybe through literature and maybe some other exchange programs and other, guest lectures, webinars. And in fact, sir, let me also highlight this point that Voice of SAP CEO Pranavji has given this opportunity that students can join, after that competition, 10 students will get some opportunities, placement opportunities also. And he's a technology person, so he was talking about assistive technology. And as well as, though a CEO of Group CEO of India TV could not join us, he messaged, but definitely he's going to be with us in the valedictory. And he mentioned, India TV mentioned us that our mass communication students will get the internships in India TV. So it is going to be a relation which is going to be nurtured from both sides. Thank you so very much to all our international guests. And I think there's late for some of the guests. So thank you so very much.
Excuse me, I would like to say, I would like to add my special gratitude, to Professor Bandyopadhyay, who just, who chose to be with us at a very short notice. My apologies if I had not, I had put all the deans HOIs together, but you are here present. Your talk was really very inspiring, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you. So thank you. Ma'am is there, I think, so. Let me take permission to just close this conference so that students are waiting for competitions and we should start with that. Is Honorable VC ma'am here? Ma'am, with your permission, can we close this session?
So congratulations to all the students, Literacy Club, under the able guidance of our deans, HOI, especially you. I think all our good wishes with them.
Thank you so much, sir, for inspiring them. I think Honorable VC ma'am is busy in some meetings, so let's close this meeting and we should divert to our respective competition rooms and workshop and panel rooms. Thank you so much, very much. Arvind, you can just close this meeting. Thank you.